shooting's all about long distance shooting.
It is. And it was a lot of fun. You know, we hooked up with the Vortex guys and went down to their long range school and got a couple of female team members together to go down and shoot this, and it was an absolute blast.
Yeah, it was a good time. And, you know, I kind of, feel like I got started hunting like almost backwards. I did a lot more archery hunting before I picked up a gun and did any gun hunting. So gun hunting still feels, a lot of parts of it kind of feel new to me. And I'd certainly never done anything like that, like shooting at those distances. But they were great instructors down there. I mean, just really made us feel comfortable. And, you know, I didn't feel stupid. You know, they, just a nice group of guys that we had with us.
They are. And that's, you know, if you're going to do a lot of long range shooting, and I've done a lot prior to this, so I kind of knew what, when I got there. And so if you have that opportunity to take somebody else to a class like this, take them to a class like this, because myself, I can be a good teacher to other people. I'm not the best teacher to my family and my wife, and I'll be the first to admit that. You know, we get out there, and if we shot long range or something and she didn't understand it, I'm just like, well, you should understand it. You know, where, as she said, unbelievable instructors, great people, just an absolute blast. And at the end of the day, I mean, we had little Avery, she is out.
She is a good shot.
Pinging metal a long ways.
Yep, you gotta watch.
Let's go.
Impact, dead center.
Impact.
The one thing is, the guys that shoot long range a lot, they're all going to be running metals, right? It's just an easier system in the long run, but like Nick was saying, they both do the same thing. One's just a little faster, a little more prevalent among the long range community, right? Most hunters that grew up hunting their whole life, I'd say like 90% plus, are all running MOA just because that's what they grew up with, that's what they know. If you're learning, typically we'll maybe lean somebody into the mills, like somebody that hasn't had a preference yet, just because it is easier. The one thing is, like with 6.5 Creedmoors, a really good rule of thumb is if you don't want to go through like data and all that stuff, like inside of 500 yards, you just take your distance, subtract 2, and that's your mill hold. And that works for like 308, 6.5 PRC, 6.5 Creedmoor, out to about 700. So if it's shooting 500 yards, -2, that's your dope, 3.0, send it, and that's going to put you within a tenth or two all the way out to 1,000.
That's that vertical to the wind, right? It's like throwing a football. If we're throwing a football straight out in front of us and we have a wind coming this way, that ball's going to end up over here, so we're compensating for it, right? We're throwing the ball over here, and it's going to push it over to the center where we want it. So that's kind of the concept there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So the crosshairs, kind of the vertical is what he's talking about. That's your aim point where the gun is zeroed. So if the wind's coming left to right, you point that left and turn. Use the right side. Everybody tracking on that? So the reason we do, you know, most of us prefer mills, and again, they're all good, they all work, is it's just a very simple language. It's a lot of people think, well, that's a metric system, I don't know how to use that. It kind of is, because it uses 10s instead of 12s. In reality, like if I try to times 10 by 100, it's very easy just to add the 0, because you're working in 10s, right? 12s is a little harder, you know? That's why we say that, but they are good. So this is going to be your MOA version of the same exact thing. That's this scope right here. You're going to have a little line and a big line all the way out, both sides, up and down. I just drew 2 so you can kind of see. So every line correlates 1 MOA, very simple. So if he gives you a 1.5 MOA, you're just going to split the difference between the 2 lines. Does that make sense? So if this first little hash is 1, and this first big hash is 2, and he says hold 1.5, split the difference, and that's going to be your wind hold. Luckily today it's not super windy, but there will be some for sure. The cool thing is, if you know, dialing, right, that's going to be correlated to the vertical in this. You don't have to actually dial. You can actually just hold the same as you would if you were to dial. So if Nick says, okay, you're shooting 700 yards or whatever, hold over 4 MOA, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put the target right on that 4th line and hold over, and you don't have to dial anything. So you can compensate by just holding over, which is what most people do. Typically not long range stuff, right? That's like, okay, he's at 200, hold top of back. It's the same concept. This is just a lot more accurate, right? Okay. So mills, very easy. 0.2, 0.4, 0.6. So 0.2s all across, halves on the bottom, and obviously the big ones are the holes. MOA, very easy. Every line is 1 MOA, very simple. Even easier than that is going to be your BDC, which is over there. So the way this works, it's kind of caliber dependent. Those lines aren't always going to be perfect, and you guys will see that today with that gun. But how it's supposed to work is you zero here. I think it's either 100 or 50 typically. Your first line down is going to be your 300. Second line down is going to be your 400. And then the last one's going to be 500. And I think there's even like a little triangle or something here, and that would be your 600. Can you guys imagine like where the problem would be with that? What if your target's at 547, right? You're kind of guessing. Will it work? Yes. But you're kind of just guessing. You don't have a lot of information there. Another problem with that would be, what if it's, you know, a 300 Norma or something that's faster? Then all of these lines are going to be lower than they need to be because the round is more efficient. So your 500, rather being on the line, may be here. The 6.5 Creedmoor, it's a little less efficient than this for whatever reason. That's dependent on barrel length, ammo, a lot of factors. So your 500, you may actually have to hold here, and you guys will see that as we use it. But for the deer hunter or somebody that's shooting, like you said, 300-400 in, this is a good option. Very simple. All you need to know is 3 lines. Very, very easy. You're always going to have wind to worry about, but elevation is pretty foolproof in that situation. So if I'm hunting, I don't need anything with me. I know if I'm shooting 600, I can put a 4.0 in it, and I'm going to hit that freaking whatever. It's very, very simple. That's a really beauty of Mills and Creedmoor. It also works with 308, 6.5 PRC. 308, about 600 is the max, and then you got to start adjusting a little more.
Bunny at 900.
So that one, perfect elevation.
Impact! We got it!
Bingo, baby! Dead bunny.
Breathe out. Slowly pull the trigger on a natural flow. You're ready.
Get that back. Work a pretty nice stable center of that target. Ready to go. Impact. You drilled it.
I hit the buffalo to get the corn.
Even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, no sweat.
Okay.
On target.
I'm on it.
Okay, let's send that bolt forward. Alright, so wind is pretty negligible at the moment, but I want you to favor just left of center. Just left of center on that pig, alright? So thumb goes to the outside. Positive pressure with that trigger finger on the trigger. Good, let's go through our breathing. Good inhale. Good exhale. Natural pause. Weird. Breathe. Bingo. Grab the key. Center button. Target.
Next up is Brad, and we've known Brad a long time. He's a good friend of ours. He's also, out of all of our team, he's probably the one who's the most of a true like rifle hunter, rifle ammo specialist, you know, of the group. Does some more out west hunts, you know, and he's on an interesting one this time.
He is. He's headed to Greenland. He's gonna head to Greenland to hunt caribou. So let's see if he has to put that, you know, all those rifle smarts and all that long range knowledge and stuff like that. See if he has to put it to the test, or if maybe something gives him an easy shot, or maybe he comes home with nothing. Let's check it out.
Gonna stop and ran into a town. I could try to get the name of it later because I can't pronounce any of the towns, but it's I think the biggest town in southern Greenland. Kind of in a sealskin factory. Directions and how they do it. Nice little ring seal skin. You don't even like?
I don't think you sent someone that didn't reach up before.
I'm gonna back out a little bit just to. some hotels like that. He was up here trying to run the boat through.
He wants to go through that little hole?
The narrow opening
Holy
there.
smokes.
I think it's the shortcut, I think. There's another one I get a lot. Heading out. And they're ready to shut down for the year. So.
The guys that are staying by.
Yeah, that's 635-6960. That's me.
Can't get a park.
Just a little video of the Lax A camp in Greenland. So, you know, these are all cabins that people are staying in. That's the cook cabin, dinner, whatever. More cabins around. I think there's 8 or 10. They're all kind of formed a little circle around this one. And then there's a sauna, multiple bath houses. So yeah, it's just, well, it's tucked into the middle of nowhere. There's no way around that. Getting out here first morning, getting going. We're trying on our flotation survival suits. So we can, if we go in the water, we might make it. Might. Ready to head out? You hear us bouncing off ice, boat getting knocked around. I think that's why we're wearing these nice survival flotation suits. Yeah, it's crazy. That's why they don't come in here. We have another boat over not far away, so they don't come back here like that unless there's at least 2 boats. He said, just, you know, I think we'd have a few minutes to get help in our survival suits.
This tip of the week is brought to you by Burnt Pit Barbecue, Rubs and Seasonings, veteran owned. Get out and grill.
One essential tool that we use in a lot of what we do are spotting scopes.
They are, and whether it's long range shooting, whether it's hunting, even archery hunting, we use them. And people are like, well, why would you do that? Well, if you're out west doing a lot of archery hunting and it's a lot of spot and stalk, it's, do I really want to walk that extra 2 miles or 3 miles to get in on that animal when you can see it through a spotting scope and to make that decision beforehand? So spotting scopes are essential, but there's a lot of different types of spotting scopes, and so that's what you need to break down. If you're going to do a lot of long range stuff and use it strictly for that, or out of your truck or your car, however you're doing it, you know, they make bigger bodied spotting scopes that are, you know, 85 millimeter bells. They're a big spotting scope. They're heavier, they're bulky, but they're made for those platforms to sit on there for bench shooting, different stuff. They've also now, you know, over the years, technology has got them to develop these smaller spotting scopes with really good glass. The same glass, just smaller and more compact. So you're looking at 11 to 37 powers, 11 to 33 powers, you know, just a smaller, more compact optic that's either angled or straight. Straight is great out of a car. Angled is great when you're out west hunting because you can sit back in your packed glass, have it sitting there, so when you find that animal, all you have to do is look down into it and it's easier to find that animal. So, you know, look at what you're optimally going to be using that for. Are you using it strictly for long range stuff and out of a car, or are you going to use it for pretty much everything? That will determine what size and what power and how big of a bell you want on that when you're looking for your spotting scope. I hope this tip helps you own your season.
Hey, he's coming up there. Oh, he's broadside it.
Yeah, my boat's moving on me. I can't. See the top one?
Yeah.
How far?
200, I think.
It's going away from us though now, right?
Yeah. Just high on the shoulder.
boy. You see him?
No, not yet.
Bouncing so much. Hang on to that for a second. I'm gonna try to get under the butt of the gun. Yeah. This one isn't shooting. No one here. Safety, yeah. Good shot.
Wow. Well done, Brad.
Awesome, guys.
Nice job.
Thank you.
All right. You got a good one.
That was a good job. It's so blurry looking
Yeah, all the fog.
that I'm like,
Then you just take your time.
well, no, I know, but I'm like, okay, I can't say which one, so I don't want to. I think I would have shot the one on the right farther because it was so hard to tell. And
Yeah.
I tried wiping it once, and then when you wiped it, I'm like, okay.
And you remembered the chamber.
I did have the safety on. See that first one? The safety was still on.
Yeah, I noticed.
Good job.
Well done.
First day, Lex A. Caribou up in Greenland. Awesome stock with the guides, fellow hunters. Good time. First day, good bull down. We'll go take a look at it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Walking up to the caribou, Greenland caribou. My first caribou. Should finish my Super 10. Nice Greenland bull. I said this is a big bull for what they've been getting. This time of year. Double shovel, bez, good points. Awesome. I'm here with my caribou, Lax A in Greenland. Beautiful caribou, double shovel, double bez. Made a good stock out of the boats. Guides got us right in on them. We saw a couple good ones from the boat. We got in the group and harvested a awesome caribou from Greenland.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Heading out.
All right.
Hey, if you like what you see, be sure to check us out on social media.
Yeah, you know, like I'm doing right now, you know, Snapgram, FaceChat, Instabook, Twitter box, you know, all those cool things on the interweb.
Those aren't things. Go to Art Helen Outdoors and own the season, and like, share, and follow us on all your favorite social media outlets for the latest content.